a world without hemp-derived cannabinoids would be unrecognizable. I don't want to imagine all the people that have to now go shop and make an illegal transaction or go put themselves at risk to now get the things that they so safely enjoyed previously.
The most meaningful part of being in this industry, I think, for the vast majority of us who have paved the way over the last 10 years is making a difference in someone's life.
My name is Brad Jersey. I am 26 years old, and I have been with the Hemp Pharmacy for a little over 2 years now.
To start off with, my name is Judith Cook, and I'm almost 80 years old, and this product has helped me a lot.
My name is Susan. I am 41 years old, and I'm a Pisces.
Hi, my name is Skylar Allen. I am 28 years old, and I was born and raised in New Jersey, and I would not be here today if it weren't for cannabis.
The Farm Bill is what originally created the legality of hemp-derived cannabinoids. It happened in 2014, was the first Farm Bill, created a state opportunity for agriculture and for growing hemp. It also legalized hemp products under 0.3%.
I feel like this is our attempt to shout to anybody who will listen, to try to understand, what it is that they're doing if they try to take all this down.
Agreed. I think that this is going to show you customers firsthand that are using products. It's going to let you be introduced to them. It's going to show you industry participants that are doing this correctly, that are part of that 70% who are driving this industry legally and self-regulating already to the regulation that we're suggesting. I think it will give you, as a customer or as an industry member, a perspective on who this is going to touch if this legislation was to change.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like everyone. That's what I'm learning about this. This is going to touch everyone. I think cannabis has largely been treated as some strange, alternative way of life. And now people are realizing that it can be integrated into everyone's life effectively, non-addictively, and to the best of results.
For people like us who have been doing this for 9 years plus, to lose this much of our industry overnight would be catastrophic, to say the least, devastating. So we're really hoping for some rules, some regulations, an opportunity to operate in a way that the government sees fit, where they can collect enough tax revenue and law enforcement doesn't have to be worried about legality. The customers could be sure that the products that they're ingesting are safe and tested. I just think there's so much more that we could do for this industry besides remove everything from it. So our hope is that our lawmakers will realize the amount of jobs that this business creates, hundreds of thousands of jobs across the nation, millions, if not billions of dollars in revenue for taxes every year. So we really want regulation, and we think that with regulations, companies like ours and other good actors in the space could really thrive and really continue to offer customers a safe alternative that would improve their quality of life and be also good for business as well.
40-50% of our customers are boomers.
Sure.
They've had to overcome and educate themselves, and when they do get that education and they fully understand it, they can then build on that education as the industry develops. Mm-hmm. I think that's where we need to reach as a community and political structure is we need to understand that this is the beginning and that we are going to define and regulate the industry, and as more information becomes available, we will continue to develop products in different directions.
Yeah, the ultimate sign of intelligence is being able to change your mind when presented with new information. And I hope lawmakers can consider that when they're considering what to do about hemp next.
A lot of these places are trying to impose total THC limits that would affect full spectrum CBD products as well. Things that don't have any impairment, but still have true psychoactive values and medicinal values that people need. Even though it's not enough to get you high, it's still there, you know? Eliminating that would be, unbelievably detrimental to my pain relieving customers, people with fibromyalgia, neuropathy. We have some cancer patients that use this for chemotherapy, and it's, negative side effects, the, nausea that they experience and the pains that they experience. It's not to say that CBD on its own can't still provide some of those medicinal benefits, but we really do need at least some access to THC in a safe way so that people can still get the benefits that they've been using for years.
I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years prior to this. I came out of that with a bunch of physical, mental issues that I use all sorts of different hemp products to treat on a daily basis.
Being very active and in sports, I've been putting a lot of pressure on all of my joints on top of having scoliosis. And so a lot of times I have chronic pain not only in just my back, but also my legs and my knees.
I think that if you're a boomer and this conversation is still about getting high, you have not devoted enough time to becoming educated on what cannabis really is.
I fully believe that cannabis has saved my life. When I was 17 years old, I had seizures. I started having seizures. They were non-epileptic, so they were pseudo-seizures and stress-induced. At the time, I was also diagnosed with PTSD, major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, and panic disorder. I lived with these conditions and I was on pharmaceuticals for many, many years. When I was 19, I woke up one day and I couldn't move. I couldn't get out of bed and I was in excruciating pain. And after months and months of going to doctors, eventually I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia.
I've been using it for 2 years with knee pain, and it completely got rid of the knee pain.
I've been having migraines for about 30 plus years, and I've tried a lot of different medications, both prescription and non-prescription. And unfortunately, they don't react well with my stomach. I always have really bad side effects to those meds, so I don't want to take them.
The idea of being in a business, not only to say renovate a house and make somebody happy that the house they're getting, but now we were going to enter a business to where you're helping people heal and you're helping them with some of their biggest problems in life. Mm-hmm. It was super motivating, and still even to this day I think is the main pillar that props up the desire to be passionate about this industry.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, helping people in their life and watching them become their best self, I think is next to religion. I can't think of another thing that has such a profound effect on people. And that has carried us through and continues to, I think, today, for sure.
I know how highly addictive opioids are. I know some people who have gone down the wrong path. So being so young and being told by doctors that this was an incurable condition that I was going to live with for the rest of my life, that's not necessarily the path that I wanted to go down.
Anybody with a heart cannot unhear some of these stories that they've heard. From the kid with seizures who's not having seizures anymore, from the person with MS who's found comfort, to someone who stopped drinking alcohol because of a CBD tincture, from the people who were insomniac and whose lives were spiraling out of control, who's now found sleep and turned their life around to the positive. I mean, the stories are endless. And these are just a few anonymous examples of what we've heard over the years. So yeah, I think that the proof is right in front of us, and we watch it every day. I mean, people come into the store and pour their hearts out and say that they've completely changed their lives to these products and haven't had to give their future up. And so, for us, that's all I want to see. I just want to see people being happy, people being their best self, and people making their life as good as it can.
Stress, anxiety, and depression's always been a struggle of my own. Diagnosed PTSD from a pretty traumatic experience from when I was a kid, and really didn't know how to properly grieve. My father is the one who had passed, so just kind of felt like I needed to be the strong, stoic, man, and kind of put all that stuff on the back burner. But really, it's when I started to use cannabis on a daily basis, in place of a lot of my anti-anxiety and my antidepressants, is when I noticed how special it was to me personally, how specific it was to what I needed to get out of it. Because everything for so long before that was so much more so band-aiding it and, like I said, putting it on the back burner, making me not think about it. But cannabis has really helped me grieve properly and helped me process that anxiety in a healthier way so that I know better ways to cope rather than just forgetting about it.
Your number one concern right now is consumer access. That Farm Bill in 2018, the language was corrected and widened to make it much clearer as to what was legal, and that really solidified the customer's access to these products legally.
I thought that my sleep problems were a bigger issue, that I had insomnia or something like that going on, but I started using the hemp products and the hemp balm on my back for my back pain, and I realized that once my back didn't hurt, I was able to fall asleep a lot easier, and so it really wasn't insomnia that I was dealing with, it was just back-related sleep problems.
Some people go the pharmaceutical route, and that's great if that helps you manage your symptoms. However, sometimes your symptoms are so severe that even pharmaceuticals don't work. I've been told to do yoga. I've been told that I'm sick because I don't pray enough. I've been told that all I have to do is start juicing and drinking celery. I've been told that maybe I could do Tai Chi, and I've been told random ridiculous things that can help me manage my pain. And out of all of them, cannabis and hemp products are what helps me function and what helps me get through my day.
I would be really upset if I lost access to any of the CBG, CBN, CBD, any of those products, because I use all of them regularly. They help with my ability to function and do daily activities, work, things with family. So I don't know what I would do if I lost access. I don't have an alternative. I don't want to go back to pharmaceuticals that have horrible side effects. So I feel like I'd be left with no options at that point.
When I started getting sick and I knew that this was a potential treatment, the very first thing I did was research, because I wanted to make sure that whatever I was putting in my body was safe and healthy. And that's when I kind of had to start to introduce the conversation to my parents and say, hey, the doctors want to put me on really strong medications that I'll probably be on for the rest of my life. We know they're highly addictive, but there are other options for me. And what my mom did was enroll herself in the cannabis courses at college with me, and we graduated together. We took all of our cannabis courses together because she wanted to make sure that she also understood the things that could help me as her daughter.
My mom used to be a very big anti-hemp, anti-THC, CBD, any of that kind of stuff. And then I started being in more and more pain, and she realized that this was the thing that was helping. And so now she's finding all of these different ones for me to try. And she realized that different things work for different people. And I think that that's a really big part of it.
My parents saw how much I struggled every day. They saw me declining. They saw how unhealthy I was. They knew how much pain I was in. And at that point, they were going to do whatever it took to make sure that I could live a normal life again.
I really think people, especially politicians who have decision-making abilities, need to be better informed, even if that means talking to doctors and medical professionals who have the knowledge and understand what the effects are of these products. Because it's not about recreational use only, it's about helping people and allowing them to find relief in ways that are easy and affordable and not impossible to find. So they really need to recognize that they're going to be hurting more than just consumers, but whole communities of people who need the stuff.
Yeah, I dream about a world where hemp is just part of the natural society that we live in and isn't so stigmatized and overregulated and overtaxed and mistreated. I think that there's a future where it's just as normal as a bushel of apples or a bag of tomatoes.
When I first got out of the military, came down to Wilmington, and I was just dealing with a bunch of the pain on a day-to-day basis, and someone I worked with at the time had recommended me to try like a CBD cream, and I found like a nice potent one, some good natural ingredients, went ahead, tried it, and since then, like, it's worked better than prescription painkillers I've been given. It's just, yeah, it's worked the best out of anything I've ever tried or been prescribed by any doctor I've seen.
Once I got to college, I was able to find the hemp balms and hemp rollers, and that was something that I was able to do just myself in my dorm room without having to go anywhere else, just kind of as needed. And so that was really, really special.
If you feel voiceless, I think it's time to speak up. I think everybody, over the last 5 years has gone through a lot ever since COVID. And I think if we can find a way to rebalance all of our lives naturally, and we see some of the trends already. I mean, Gen Z doesn't drink nearly as much alcohol. Cannabis is widely accepted, 10, 12, 15 years worth of time now that's gone by. So almost a generation. I think it's time for everybody to let everyone know how they feel. And I think we'd be silly to let something like this fall through our hands.
I'm going to have to probably go back to the doctors, get like reevaluated, see what they'd want to prescribe me then, and get some kind of like pharmaceutical, which I'd rather not go down, with the history of, the opiate epidemic throughout America. I'd like to stay away from that as much as possible. So taking away hemp just seems kind of counterproductive.
I'd say the very first time that I had an edible, I cried. All of my pain went away, and I was sitting there, and I was so confused because at the time, I guess I was probably 21. So after being in pain every single day for 3 years, I wasn't in pain. And I remember calling my mom, crying, and she's like, "Oh my God, what's going on? Like, are you okay?" I was like, "Mom, I'm not in pain." She's like, "What do you mean? What did you do?" And I was like, I took an edible. And she's like, "Okay. Like, are you good? Are you safe?" And I was like, "I'm at home and I'm about to do my laundry and walk the dog, and I'm gonna meal prep for the week because I'm not in pain and I have the energy to do all of these things that I typically wouldn't."
I'm an agrarian utopia kind of guy. I mean, I imagine a world where everybody's happily farming and making a good living and have plenty of time to spend with their family. I mean, that's the future I wish for all of us. I think for me, when we farmed hemp in the field, when we grew acres of it, it was so hard. It was challenging. It was hot. It was difficult work. But the satisfaction that I felt, and knowing that the product that we produced would be created into items that could really help people, make them have a nice sleep or a great day, reduce seizures, whatever the fix would be. It was really inspirational for us. I mean, you didn't get the same feeling necessarily growing zucchini. There was something special about seeing the hemp in the field, the smell, watching the plants go from teeny and vulnerable to huge and unstoppable, and to me, it was a profound experience.
The first time that I used this product, I was a bit reluctant, but after a few uses, the pain started going away because it stretches out your muscles where your muscles are real tight, and it was really fantastic. It warms you and cools you at the same time.
If the current language in the Farm Bill reduces the available products that we can sell in the store by 80 to 90%, it really does do a lot of damage to a business. Any business that lost that amount of revenue would certainly suffer. I suspect that the intoxicating part of hemp right now is the driving force because there isn't really a legal alternative. So I don't think that that's the only reason that hemp has become popular right now, but it's certainly the one that's sustaining it the most. So I'm hoping that the intoxicating part of the hemp opens a lot of doors for people to understand its wide range of uses.
I've heard various numbers about what this industry produces in revenue, how many jobs are affiliated with hemp or cannabis related industries. I think the bigger picture that maybe everyone's missing is the amount of packaging and labeling that we use in production of our business, the amount of UPS workers that deliver packages, the amount of landlords that depend on us to pay these high rental amounts, insurance companies. There are numerous other businesses that not only specialize in hemp that are drastically impacted by this change.
If the laws change and not in our favor, and we have to go out of business, I just imagine all of our research now becoming largely irrelevant. All of our employees, 50 plus employees that we have, would be out of a job. All of the time and energy that we've spent growing and building our business, all the blood, sweat, and tears would seemingly be all for nothing. So it's kind of our nightmare to imagine that with the stroke of a pen, all of this could go away with no recourse. And so we just encourage people to advocate. We encourage people to contact their representatives to let people know how much this is helping you and how much your life would be different if you didn't have access to these high quality products anymore.
Has hemp made a positive impact on your life? The new Farm Bill could make hemp illegal again. Hemp heals and empowers our communities. The Farm Bill needs to protect it. Follow the Pink Elephant on social media as we document this historic moment in the hemp industry. Join us in the fight for hemp. Visit thepinkelephant.org.